Welcome back, my dear students. In this lecture here, we're going to be learning the second way of actually styling our pages or using CSS within our HTML document. So the next step is go ahead and use that blank.html that we got there. Let's do a save as, and let's call this internal. All right, .html, enter. Perfect. Let's click here, that lightning bolt symbol, and let's see this in the browser. By the way, I hope you're having a great day. It is another great day, and I'm just feeling better and better every time because I know you're learning some really good stuff, and I'm the one responsible for it, right? So it's good to be responsible for things like this, right? So anyways, let's do internal. Let's just change the title here for once in a while, right? So that way we have, let's just say internal CSS. There we go. That's more descriptive. All right, so how do we create an internal style for this page, right? How do we make it internal? How do we make the CSS internal? What does that mean, by the way? Well, internal means that we are going to be using CSS inside this document right here. All right, because if you remember, I told you there are three ways: inline, and we already used inline in the last lecture within the element. And internal means we're going to use it somewhere here inside the document. And external is that we're linking to another file that is outside this document. So how do we make it? Well, let's do it right here in the head tag. And this is the way to do it actually, in the head tag. And we create an element called the style tag right there. That's it. Just like any HTML document element tag. There we go. And inside here we write our properties. All right. So the first property, I think you remember that from the last lecture, the inline. So we say color was the first property, and then we separated it by using the colon, right? And then we usually type in the, actually not usually, we do type in the value after the colon always, and then we close it with a semicolon. And this semicolon is just gonna say, you know what, I'm done with this property and value. What's next? And if there is nothing next, there's nothing next happening. All right, and that's what we did in the inline. We separated each of these properties with a semicolon. All right, so now here we're not styling anything right now. All right, there is nothing, no styling, because we haven't selected anything. In order for us to make something happen here in our body tag, we need to select it, and we use that by using something called a selector. And let me just right now, let me just put a paragraph, and this paragraph is gonna say, this is, no, actually let's do something different. Hello, dear student, how are you? All right, let's do it like this. All right, so now we have a paragraph tag here with some text inside. We have some text formatted with a p tag. That was another way of saying it, by the way. But anyway, so here we have this property and this value here, right? Well, the right way of actually selecting, the way we select any element here is that we need a selector. All right, so the selector that we're going to use is CSS selector, right? And we're going to use a p. All right, and then we wrapped the property and the value inside these curly brackets, and this is what they called. All right, so right here like this. All right, and now you can see the color change on this property, right? Because when we had it outside, it was a different color, right? It was the same color as this actually. So we'll put it right in between that. Now remember, space really doesn't not matter. All right, so I can put this there, or I can put it right here. Doesn't really matter. And this is the way I write my CSS rules. All right, and this is the way it's actually written a lot. I mean, a lot of people write this in one single line like this. If you want to, you can do that if you want, like that. All right, I don't recommend that. I recommend this because that way you can put more properties in there, and you can keep track of properties differently. All right, so let's go back and see that. You see that? Now we are actually styling this. Let's go ahead and do some more CSS properties. Let's do the font weight like we did on the last one. Font weight, and this is going to be bold. You see that change in the left side? All right, let's do the font size, and this is 24, and you can see that change. All right, So perfect. So this was the other way of actually doing that internally. Remember, it's in the head tag. We're using this style HTML tags, and we can just make it a little nicer like this. All right. So that is the internal version of the CSS, how we apply it in the document. All right. So hopefully you were able to gain some valuable information. In the next lecture, we are going to actually start applying CSS externally. This is going to be really exciting, and this is actually the preferred way of doing it externally. This is actually one way of doing it, and it's used like this when we have to do something that does not require a lot of properties and a lot of values. It does not require a lot of CSS. That's when we do this. And the inline, of course, you remember that we only do this when we want to style specific elements. All right? So anyway, thank you so much for watching this lecture. It was a pleasure, and I see you in the next one. It's going to be more exciting than this one. Take care.